Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mario Cristobal Show presented by Kia. Joe Zagacki alongside my broadcast partner, Don Bailey Jr., and the Hurricanes this week open up the season at home against Miami of Ohio at Hard Rock Stadium. A 7 o'clock kickoff. Camp is done. On to the season now. Everybody's very excited.
That they are, Joe. We're excited about our new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and 41 new players. A lot of them are freshmen and also a lot of guys that have come to be Hurricanes and have a successful season.
Very worthy opponent. Miami of Ohio, an experienced team. Quarterback is back. He's 23 years old. He's accounted for 50 career touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's a guy that's produced over 6,000 passing yards in his career. They also have the quarterback from last year who started a majority of the games. So you've got to prepare for two guys at that position, and that's always a handful.
Miami and the University of Miami, the Redhawks of Miami of Ohio, and the Hurricanes. We'll talk with Hurricanes head coach Mario Cristobal when we continue right after this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mario Cristobal Show, year number 2 of the Coach Cristobal Show. Joe Zagacki with my broadcast partner, Don Bailey Jr. Thank you for joining us. Coach, year 2, we're all excited, ready to kick it off on Friday night. Concluded training camp. What were some of the things that you really took out of camp that were real positives for you?
Well, certainly a team that has developed in the weight room a bunch. While, again, we added 41 new football players to our football team. Primarily in the trenches, where we saw a massive overhaul, as well as, when we made our switch as that coordinator, schematically we're doing some things that probably fit us a little bit more, that we're a little bit more suited to do right now, from a physical standpoint, from an ability standpoint, in a positive way. Gives us a chance to really, open up our athleticism and let it go to work for us.
Coach, you talk about 41 new faces and 41 new personalities, plus the staff. What are some of the things you do to build the chemistry and make sure everybody understands what it takes?
Sure. Well, I think the first part of that is when you are recruiting these new faces, because there are so many of them, make sure they are like-minded, right? Make sure that the principles and values that they have are in line with the culture. Because when you have that many new people, you're almost, it's a one-year culture restart button if that becomes, right, the trend year after year. With that many new faces and that many new coaches as well, we all had to have very, very similar, very similar mentality. Our DNA had to be, again, like we mentioned, one that was about the work, was about team. And we feel like we've really hit on just about everybody at a really high level in that, which has allowed this team to really, nothing's ever seamless, but if you could predict, hey, 40 new guys and 6 new coaches, how seamless can it be? Let's just say that the transition has been one that has brought a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. Certainly on the field, you see a lot more of a productive day in terms of just getting better at football, getting better fundamentally, carrying over to the classroom, and just the energy and the juice in the building has taken a very drastic step.
If we go back to the trenches for a moment, it does seem that you are building your way inside out. Huge offensive line, good size on the defensive line, and guys that have range on the defensive line. They get their hands up in deflections and things like that.
Well, line of scrimmage is always going to be where the game is, right? Where it starts and it ends. You got to win it everywhere, right? You got to win on the perimeter, so you have to recruit size and length out there as well. But if you look at us a year ago, short yardage, goal line, running the football, stopping the run, those were massive issues, And schematically, you have to do everything you can to make sure that you're at your best, but you also have to have the body types. You got to have guys that can knock people back, right? That can fit them and move them and also make plays, right? When the play is there to be made. So we feel like we've enhanced ourselves on both sides of the ball. I'm looking forward to watching these guys play.
The freshman impact on this football team. Let's just go to Hurricane Bane. Let's start right there. Coach, the first day of spring practice, he made an impact. And what's been impressive to me is his endurance through camp, and I've never seen a dip. I've not seen a dip in his game or his energy or his effort.
Yeah, he's a problem in practice now.
Yeah.
He's hard to block. He's a guy that's always going to find a way to make a play. His effort is he's a relentless competitor. So if you're trying to block him, you got to be ready for his counter move, his counter after his counter move. for him to chase the ball. If there's an extended play, you better stay on him because he's going to find a way to slip through there. But he never compromises the job. So if he has to fill a gap, take on a blocker, he's going to do his assignment to make sure that whatever he's supposed to do, he does it so his teammate can make a play. So that guy, he's been awesome to have around. It's hard to believe he's only a freshman. We expect big things out of him this year.
2 new coordinators. Let's start on the offensive side first. Shannon Dawson, great connection there between him and his players. The quarterback room looks rock solid as well, and it seems like as if there's been a good connection with those guys adjusting to his new scheme.
Certainly has. Shannon has a ton of experience at his different stops. And he's a guy, I've known him for a good while now as well. It starts with the fact that he's an awesome human being, just elite person from a character standpoint. And he has spent some time around some really explosive offenses, coordinating some of them, being a position coach in others. And he has produced some really high-octane offenses, and he's taken whatever talent has been on that offense and put them to great use. He's very well balanced. You know, he comes from the air raid tree, but has really pounded the rock really well and has created just a really, really strong blend for us, one that our players have bought into. And we're really excited to watch this thing actually, you know, transfer over to game day, because in practice, we feel like we have taken significant steps as a program.
Coach, you go to the defensive line, and I put myself in a high school player's shoes. You've got Jason Taylor and Coach Joe, 20-plus years NFL experience, including a Hall of Famer. How are you going to get tutored any better in the world? And you watch them in practice. Both of those coaches work hard. They're precise in their comments and constantly pushing technique.
No doubt. You know, they're the rare combination of guys that have done it at the highest level, and they have nothing to prove, but their vocation is coaching. So they're pouring all that energy that they had and that they poured into being a Hall of Famer, they're pouring it into teaching young men how to do it. So it's hard to beat that combination, and especially now where we're in need of always getting some defensive line. We certainly have an upperclassman room in that D-line room. We're going to need more players. It's a great situation for young guys looking to take that next step as a player and as a person.
I also thought it was interesting how Coach Guidry came in, evaluated what the players were more comfortable running, and kind of, I mean, he's got a great scheme, but is able to incorporate what they want to do into his thought process.
No doubt. Another high-level human being. I mean, elite character, elite person. And he gets after it now. If you've watched practice, you see the way he coaches every bit of it, from the front end to the back end, and he is on fire. And he sees it. He's got a great set of eyes. You saw him statistically the last couple of years, and even before that, you go back to him at McNeese and some of the stuff he did there, or Miami of Ohio, and you know, when he was there as well, you know, and over at Western Kentucky. I mean, he's had some staggering numbers in production because of not only his scheme, but his ability to connect and motivate players.
When you talk about game one, you got to immediately focus on special teams, because it's something you work on every day in practice, a portion of it, but you really don't go live like you need to do. How do you prepare a team for that walking into game one for special teams?
Sure, we try to go as live as we can. We really have. You know, we sometimes we cheat up the scouts and have them gain a few extra yards so they run down faster, and we have to set up our blocks better. We go ahead and we take our starters and put them on the scout looks so that they can give them a really physical, hard-nosed, fast look. And we feel that we have made a lot of improvements in those areas as well. You know, special teams last year was actually a bright spot for the most part. And we feel that we can take another step. You know, Andy's better. You know, replacing Lou is hard, but, you know, Dylan has done an awesome job. And with a snapper as experienced as Napper is, I mean, it's we have great opportunities with so many of these young guys that got here that are big speed guys. They're fast guys, physical guys, linebacker, tight end, safety body types that can go down there and make plays on special teams. We've got a chance to improve ourselves there too.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next segment, because Miami of Ohio is really good on special teams. We'll get to that. Your quarterbacks, Van Dyke, you mentioned, ready to roll. And I thought for this training camp, it was really good for him because he was under a lot of pressure from the defense. And, you know, we kind of think Tyler's been here forever, but against Miami of Ohio, it'll be his 18th start. and he has not gone wire to wire in a season. So he's still facing situations perhaps that he hasn't been in, still experiencing different things.
Sure, his best football is ahead of him.
Right,
He feels very strongly about his supporting cast. You know, while Coach Goodwin was trying to figure what is best for the University of Miami, he got to experiment with a lot of different looks, you know, with the front and on the back end as well. So, like if you came to our practice, you couldn't tell what we're running on defense, which for a quarterback, that's really difficult, right? Pre-snap to post-snap, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, every time I come up here, the picture is different. So it's helped us as a team. It's helped the guys up front as well, seeing so many different looks. So all in all, it's a blessing to have Tyler. The way he's approached everything about the offseason, about being a leader or whatnot, we're excited to watch him have a nice, healthy season.
Coach, you brought in Coach Harris to coach the running back room. You've got a full room, but Coach Dawson says time and time again, we're going to use everybody we can. It's all hands on deck.
No doubt. I mean, Coach Harris, he's a real one now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's a Miami Hurricane through and through. His father, obviously, a real one as well. I mean, these guys, I've gone to so many practices throughout my career as a coach over there at Booker T and watched their style of coaching. And to have the opportunity to get Tim back here was certainly an honor. And it shows up already. You know, our backs are they're continuing to progress and elevate their level of play. And every day it's a competition. And that's made that room better. You know, having guys that can go in there and really push ahead, right, and get really hot has made the other guys just stay on edge. And that's going to help us.
I like A.J. Allen's nickname coming out of high school, Quick Six, because Quick Six makes everybody's life a lot easier, right? When you get quick touchdowns from the running back position, whether it's him or Henry or Don Chaney, but quick touchdowns makes life a lot easier.
That's right, all the time. I mean, AJ's come in and just, man, you want to talk about a guy that immediately was felt as a person and as a player. I mean, I can't say enough great things about him. I can't say enough about Don Chaney, you know, being healthy and coming back the way he has. And Henry Parrish taking another step as well as a player. And then, of course, people talk about Mark Fletcher and what a great job he's done, you know, in a bigger body at 228 pounds. So all in all, just that running back room is enhanced from a discipline standpoint, a level of play and competitive standpoint. We're excited to see him work.
Coach, I don't know if I've been at a meeting or at a post-practice or pre-practice when you hadn't brought up the word leadership. And with that word, how do you pick your captains and how do you form your leadership squad or your leadership team?
Sure. Well, we let our team elect our leadership council. Okay, and we make really clear that this is not a popularity contest. You're not voting for the homecoming king, okay, in high school. You're voting for guys that do it the right way all the time and are going to be held accountable. And it's not permanent, right? Either way, you can add people on it because they could earn their way there, but you could also take people off it if they don't uphold the standards of doing things. So they're involved in a lot of the decision making as it relates to the team and making sure that the team is always, you know, we got to groom leadership, and part of that is getting with these guys and getting into deep conversations and just moments where we can grow and groom and teach. A lot of teaching moments involved. So they're involved in the captain choosing process, but captains are chosen by the way the week goes. The guys that practice the best, perform the best, week in and week out, are going to be the ones that are going to walk out there for the coin toss.
Time for a new segment on the show. It's the High Performance Moment, presented by Kia. Each week, we'll highlight an outstanding performance on the field. Today, we look back at a few high-performance moments from All-American Cam Kitchens. The Georgia Tech game, Don, Cam Kitchens was unbelievable.
He actually took the game over for the Miami defense. Came away with 3 interceptions, including 1 pick six. I believe that game helped earn him All-American honors from last year.
All-American a year ago, preseason All-American this year, great leader on the field.
Absolutely. He is one of the guys that will determine the outcome of this season for the University of Miami.
Cam Kitchens, the Kia High Performance of the Week. This is the Mario Cristobal Show. This week, the Hurricanes home at Hard Rock Stadium here against Miami of Ohio with a 7 o'clock kickoff. This Miami of Ohio team comes in, Coach, and very experienced. Coach has been there for a long time. They know what their system is. They know what their identity is.
They sure do. They've got 9 returning starters on defense, 7 on offense. Defensively, what really stands out is, I watched the Kentucky game. They held them to 50 yards rushing. They really knocked them back. I mean, their structure is that where those ends squeeze you really, really tight. They make it difficult for that backside to get to that second level. Those defensive ends get those hands on those tackles and knock them around. They're very, very sound. They understand their fits really well. On third down, they are exotic. They bring it from everywhere. They twist you. They game you. They stunt you. They do a great job. And when you flip them around on the other side, they complement each other really well because they're a big physical offensive line to get down a hill in the running game. And they have explosive players, and they've done a good job in the portal, accessing a couple of guys that can really stretch the field and make plays. So their quarterbacks are healthy. Watching those guys play, you could tell. I mean, they make it go, and they've certainly. It's no surprise why they're picked to win their division this year in their conference.
Coach, you bring up quarterbacks. The original starter last year got hurt in week 4. They bring in the backup guy. Now they're a basic, I don't want to say a 2-quarterback system, but you can expect both of them to play.
You have to prepare for everything, and they're both different but alike at the same time, and they're both excellent football players.
Yeah, Gabbard, 23 years old, 50 career touchdowns. Been there for a long time. Good genes. His brother was a #1 draft choice as well.
Sure has. He he pops on film because of his play, but also if you look and you watch, his career there, you could tell that he's one of their primary leaders, if not the primary leader on the team, and he's done a great job for that program.
Coach, number 15, their linebacker, 248 tackles the last 2 years. I mean, this guy is all over the map as far as making plays and just a hard-nosed guy.
Triggers quickly, great eyes, great eye discipline. Diagnoses plays and instantly just goes, right? Understands what a back block and a puller means to him in terms of his fit. And he's a great tackler. He tracks the ball really, really well. He closes on ball carriers really, really well. Excellent on blitzes. He's a really, really high level player and certainly one of the biggest parts of their defense.
On their defense, I imagine tackling and protecting the ball is always important in any first game. But in particular with this team, they were plus 11 in takeaways a year ago. So they take the ball away. They tackle well, as you mentioned, but taking the ball away, so protecting the ball has to be really important for you.
They take the ball away at every opportunity. We made a tape of them punching at the ball, stripping the ball. Big play done, made against them. There's somebody trying to rake that ball out of there. Someone busts a play down the side, someone's a gang tackle, right? Everyone's there, someone's punching at the ball, ripping it out, and they have caused some monster turnovers in some big games because of that extra effort. They certainly teach it, they coach it, they preach it, and it shows up on tape. So it's working, and it's led them to a top 10 turnover margin in the country.
Coach, you look at the dynamics of college football today, and you take Miami of Ohio. You look at a team that 5 years ago, they recruited to that conference. They recruited to that style of play. Now you look at the roster, Michigan State, Notre Dame, big teams from all over the country. They have players on there now because they've gone out. They've either transferred in or for whatever reason it is, but it's changed the complexion as well.
It sure has. And what they've done, they've just when you have that much consistency over time, you're able to identify what your system needs, and you're able to identify those parts, those pieces, and get them into the program. On the coaching side and on the personnel side, they've done that, and obviously they've done a great job.
I always think when you have a game like this, I equate it to when you're in the NCAA basketball tournament and you play a mid-major, and they're always that mid-major team is problematic because they've been together, they know who they are, and they always seem to find a way to do something positive. In this case, Miami of Ohio, they find a way to take a lead in a game, and their special teams are really good. Last year their punter had 14 punts of 50 yards or more, so they find little things.
I just see them as another really, really good Division I team that has played really well and has a lot of experience. We certainly, I know our team doesn't ever like conferences, divisions. If someone's on the schedule, they. And especially a team like this, it shows up on film because our guys watch film, and the first thing they said was like, wow, it's a really good football team. So our guys are really excited for this opportunity, an opportunity to play an excellent football team at home to open up the season. we're just preparing as hard as we can to make sure we're at our best come game time.
Regarding this game, Coach, game one specifically, with the new staff that you have, all the new players that you have, over the last month, how have you gone about making sure that everything's in line on game day? How do you overcome, so you don't have the sideline errors or the communication mistakes?
Sure. Well, we simulate game day just about in every way, shape, and form throughout the course of fall camp. And then also, these hirings, it's I know they take time, but we were able to take time to identify the like-mindedness of what we have been over the course of several years. So there was a lot of overlap systematically, program-wise, what the expectations are, what we do, how things flow on game day. And then a chance to have all these guys work together, and also being able to bring in coordinators with some assistants or analysts that have worked with them. It's really big, right? Because these are guys that have spoken that language, their language, know the setup, how it rolls, how it goes, where the eyes need to be in practice and in game day. And that helps, exponentially teach the system so that the staff learns it even better, right, than the players do, because the staff has to be able to teach it, right, at all levels, not just one person. So I think that has helped us a lot.
I want to hit you on this real fast. It kind of falls into the recruiting category without talking about specific recruits, but the high school season's underway. So I visited a couple of the games this past weekend. I see a lot of Hurricane gear at the games. People are excited about the University of Miami, and then we're doing well with the South Florida players. And I think to myself, nobody can bond with these players in this area better than Coach Cristobal, because you played on those same fields that these kids are playing on. You were sweating on those same fields, and you played against many of the same opponents that they're playing against. So you have that connection.
They're a lot better than I ever was, but I think it's more so than me. It's the players on our team can relate to their teammates, former teammates, more than anybody. Let's call it what it is. Like, the city of Miami was just voted the best city in the country, right? And one of the safest in the entire world. The University of Miami is consistently ascending academically. Now a member of the AAU. Look at campus, look at our facility going up. Wait till you see the final renderings and how we're starting this thing. We just signed our best class in our history. I mean, everything is building and growing and developing momentum. So this is as good of a time as there's ever been in the history of the University of Miami to become a Miami Hurricane. And these guys are smart, they understand that this is the time. This is, when a Santana Moss, came in, when a Reggie Wayne and an Ed Reed came in, when a Don Bailey came in, right? They had an opportunity.
That's a reach.
Yeah, that's a big reach. Sorry about that. No, what they understand is that we have hired high-level professionals. We're investing the world in their futures. Our Life After Football program, I can't see any school having a better one. This is a real one that really helps these guys be in position for great career opportunities and great livelihoods once football's over with. And then their impact on the community. I mean, these guys have been playing here and representing forever. What better opportunity than to come and make your hometown school the best in the country? That's how Miami's always been successful, so we want to make it that way again.
All right, Coach. Friday night, Miami and Miami of Ohio, and here we are again. It's football season. Hard Rock Stadium should be jumping.
We can't wait to be there. Looking forward to seeing everybody, and it's been a great off season. Appreciate you guys. Let's go play some ball.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. University of Miami head coach Mario Cristobal. We will continue on the show right after this. Hurricanes and the Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio, Hard Rock Stadium, Friday night, kick this thing off. A long season begins, but the Hurricanes are ready to go.
That they are, Joe. They've put in the work starting in spring practice. They understand the new offense and the new defense, and they certainly understand what it's taking to win.
Put a lot of assets into the trenches. When they get off the bus, I'll follow the offensive line.
I think that's a good idea. They are the biggest bunch in the room, and that's how you want it.
Okay, Miami of Ohio and the University of Miami, 7 o'clock at Hard Rock Stadium. Thanks for joining us on the Mario Cristobal Show.